Hello and welcome to the Frog manual, the Glock first. So as you see, the Frog went for Glock. Like in the Check My Rec video, right now I will show you how to assemble the conversions to the Glocks. And the conversion is just a single type for all the TMs, the VFCs and WEs, and this doesn't depend on the type of Glock, generally for all Glocks. I have different models here to have a little more fun. For this video we will be looking specifically on the Glock from VFC, and TM and WE they will come later. And yes, my hands are yellow. So here you see what the conversion consists of course apart from the frog and the pistol. There is the conversion with assembled hose, and the hose, this length is dependent on the type of the Glock, right? This is Glock 17, 5th gen. But for a shorter Glock, the hose would be shorter. If there exists a longer Glock, obviously, this would have to be a bit longer, yeah? So always, when you are ordering, you need to tell me what kind of Glock you have. Or you can also choose an option to have basically very long hose and cut it to the size, then it will not be attached to the conversion. In the conversion there are 2 screws for the attachment, and thing unique for the conversion of the VFC is the top gasket. So normally in all the conversions you take out the valve and the gasket from the magazine, the original magazine, but in case of VFC the gasket is already there. Why? The reason is pretty simple. So this is one conversion for all 3 manufacturers, right? WE seal has the same interface to the conversion as the TM, but the VFC one doesn't, yeah? So the top, let's say, of the seal in VFC is the same as in TM magazine, but the bottom of this seal is different in VFC, is basically a bit longer, so you would not be able to use it in a common conversion for all these other manufacturers. So again, what you receive here is a pre-assembled conversion, just the valve is missing. We will do something about this in a moment. There is the drill plate for the VFC. This is to help us with the assembly. You will learn how it works in a moment. And there is this short piece of the black rope that we will also use, kind of the same like with all the pistols. There is the dedicated speed loader, the current model. So in this video I have the version 2.4, but in the future maybe it would be a newer version, yes? So for the moment, version 2.4, always the speed loader comes with a spare wheel, and there are 3 magazines. Here I have only a single one. The reason just to make more space on the screen, but all conversions for the pistols comes with 3 magazines, and the magazine capacity and size depends on the type of Glock you are using. Of course, this is the same magazine for TM, WE and VFC. So in this case, this is again Glock 17, so there's the long magazine and the capacity is 16 rounds indicated here. New mat type, very nice. So with the Glock, assembly will be much smoother and simpler than with the original P226 or even high kappa conversions which I did, and I'll guide you through it right now, so it should be quick. First thing, assemble the conversion with the valve from the magazine, so let's do it. So we are taking our Glock, we are taking out the magazine, and the valve for the VFC, WE and TM fits, all of them fit into the same conversion, right? So make sure that the magazine is empty. Don't do it like I do right now, that I'm pressing the valve to empty it, because it might burn your finger. Just make sure it's shot out, or just release it with some tool, and then you can safely remove the valve using proper tool for it. Just rotate it out. And with these VFC valves, as always, one seal tends to stay in the magazine, right? So we need to pull it out, make sure you have it. And the magazine is basically not needed for anything anymore, so we can put it completely aside. Okay, and with the seal, let's put it on the valve. And very simply, we can drop it in and use the key to screw it. You saw what I did? I did like a counter rotation so that the threads would catch, yeah, so that they would match. There is this like jump in when you do it, and then you can screw it all the way in. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, make sure it's tight, and that's it. So the conversion is prepared. And now for the next step I will explain what we will do. So there are two screws in the conversion which we will use to assemble it to the gun. We will screw it in and we will find the positions for these screws using this nice tool. But first we need to take out this rear portion of the mechanism in the gun because that's where the conversion will attach to. So we take off the slide, pull down this lever from both sides at once. Okay, now there is a tiny screw here. Okay, it came out. Then the next thing is this pin here. Okay, I punched it out. And now we should be able to take out this part. Yeah, and be careful because these parts tend to escape like you see. And there is a spring and an arm here, so don't lose them. And that is where we get to. Now we will need to disassemble this part a little more. So like pay attention how it is assembled so that then you will know how to, you know, put it back. But what I did, I released the hammer by pushing on this arm here, right? So you see it's released. Now I will take it out. Okay, so a spring jumps out. This part can be taken out. Now I want to remove this pin. Okay. And this will allow me to take out the hammer with its spring and the valve knocker. And I have this empty part with which I can work. What I will be able to do is to basically just put this part over here like this. So you see it positions on this extended black portion here. Okay, and where I need to drill the holes is marked here with those two indicators. Depending on the tools you have, you can either, you know, drill through or use some kind of pinching tool like this one, you know, mark the holes where they are and just drill here. I'm gonna pinch it and drill it without the plastic part on. So maybe you can see I have two indentations, one here, and this is exactly when I'm gonna drill, so this part is not necessary anymore. And here we are going for a 2.5mm diameter hole, and it will be a through hole onto the other side, right? So pretty simple, just drill through. And maybe one more thing here is, you know, this is the main topic, is to get the conversion of on a proper height in relation to the gun, so that the seal here touches properly to the nozzle, right? So this is why we have this tool. But depending on how well you drill, yeah, how precise it will be, it might run out to some direction a little. So I advise to go first with a smaller drill and then enlarge the hole. Then there is a risk that if something goes bad, you can, you know, enlarge it to bring it back to proper position. So here are my 2mm holes. And what can you do is actually you can remove these screws from the conversion. That's where the holes will match, obviously. Okay, and you can put it here and basically see if the holes, if they match, yeah. From the rear you can see inside if they are quite okay. One more thing, if you are checking the height of the conversion, don't pay attention to this top edge here, like in previous conversions that it had to be aligned. In these conversions, because of different types of guns, the conversion will sit on a different height in each gun, yeah? Use this drilling help and it will guide you. And of course then what you will do, you will increase the hole size to 2.5mm. The idea is that those screws, they will have to go through, obviously. And now when you have them, you can rotate the conversion to the other side. Of course, if there are these debris everywhere, just, you know, clean it and remove them. And for the rear, we will have to hide the head of the screw in the metal, right? So now we will take a bigger drill. And we will drill from this side, but be very careful, because what are you going to do? Like, you are not going through this time. If you go through, you blow everything, right? So very slowly and carefully drill, just to the depth. You are doing like a kind of counter bore, yeah? Just drill to the depth that the head of the screw can hide within the metal, yeah? With our conversion attached, screws hidden, we can assemble back the trigger mechanism, of course, remove the debris and relube it as you go. Alright, and that's done. Now if I drop my screws in here, right, I can attach the conversion to them. So I took it apart as much as I could. The idea is that, you know, if something disconnects, which in my assembly maybe didn't disconnect, I'll show you how to put it aside. So we will start with the hammer, and here there is a cutout for this tiny little spring, and you must make sure that it's fine sitting in that cutout. All of this is extremely small and hard to show under camera, so I'll do my best. Let's hope I can manage. And then you need to put in this part and the tip. So if you have this partially triangular shape, this is where the spring has to catch. So I'm gonna put it in. So this is what you want your part to be doing. When you push it, the spring pushes it back. The thing is that it jumps out really easily, so let's leave it aside. Okay, so now when the hammer is prepared, I can put the return spring like this. So the long tip and the short tip, so that the short one puts retention here. And I can drop it into this frame, so that the spring goes out to here. You see there are scratches because the spring left them, yeah? It puts retention against this part. And now I will need to take this pin, which has the, let's say, different diameter head, and I will try to pin the hammer here in place when I push it so that the spring goes under tension. It's pretty tricky. But it's doable. And now I need to pull out the pin very carefully to make the space just enough to be able to drop in the valve knocker. It should go underneath. Okay. And now when I pull the hammer to the back, it will allow me to push in this valve knocker, and then I need to catch it with the same pin. Okay, now these three parts. So this silver part will go in like this. And there is that spring, and this spring has to push on the step from one side, like this, okay? So the easiest way is first to drop this to here, and take the pin that has the constant diameter, no knurling, and put it in like this, yeah, so it's prepared. And now the spring, and make sure that it goes over that silver tab which I showed on that arm, and catch it with the same pin. Like that, yeah? So when I pull this lever back, this spring should be lifted. And now the last thing that I will have to do is to join that spring with the valve knocker in here, but I have to, let's say, retract it. So the way how I'm gonna do it, the easiest way is that I'm gonna pull the hammer completely to the back, and now I can squeeze in a screwdriver under the hammer, the valve knocker, sorry, and you see it got retracted so much that I can put the spring through it, and right now it's joined. So if I go here, you see that this is spring loaded, yeah, and it goes back. Of course it releases the hammer. Here the silver part rotates like this, and the valve knocker obviously is on that spring I just attached it with. Okay, and the last thing will be that arm for this side. it goes like this, and the spring underneath. These springs are kind of annoying, they will be jumping out, so probably you will not see too much through my fingers, but I need to hold it down or it will eject, right? Now, making sure these parts did not run away, I can lift the bar here, put in the prepared conversion and the chassis, and position it like this so that the screw hole here matches. And this screw, you know, this is a screw to the plastic, so these kind of screws are generally kind of shitty, so don't over tighten it. And actually it's not a bad idea to put some glue on the thread or in the hole, like super glue, because thread locking against the plastic doesn't work so well, yeah, so just regular super glue. It will be really easy to remove it when you unscrew it, but it will not unscrew on its own. And then the last pin with the knurling, I'm putting it from this side, push it down, and your frame is assembled. Now what is left is to put on the slide. Pretty simple. Okay, yeah, it should easily go over the seal with Glocks, this is no big deal. And now you can test if you pull the slide all the way back, if it returns nicely. You see it returns, you see that the nozzle is retained, and then it disconnects when I pull it far enough. And yeah, that's probably all good. I will connect the pressure and check. But still, before I do it, one comment. This is very important on which height is the conversion, yeah? So if you use this plank, then it will be just fine. However, if you are not so skilled or you have some worries if you are able to do it in one go, maybe you can first attach it only with the top hole, right? Because then, if something's wrong, you can enlarge the top hole and use the bottom hole corrected to, you know, retain proper height. And this way have the top hole as the loose one for the tolerances, for the run out, so to say, and the positioning on the bottom hole. So, you know, not everything is lost if you make a mistake. And another thing I wanted to mention is, you know, it's much easier anyway with this Glock conversion, because you actually have the access from the front. You can easily measure the height, yeah? In the high kappa, in the P226s, it was drilling in the frame, it was much more tricky, but here we extract this chassis and it's pretty easy to put the holes where they need to be. Okay, enough talking, so now let's take the pressure. Like with all HPA, GBB and pistols, you need to make sure that, you know, the valve in the conversion is charged, right? Like the valve knocker moved back. So always you can put the pistol like this, slide to the rear. Right now the valve is resetted for sure, and I can connect the pressure. All is good, gun's empty. Let's try it. Kicks like a mule, it works perfectly. Okay, what you can also do is listen if there is no hissing or anything, yeah, just to be sure. And if everything's fine, let's disconnect the pressure, and we will do last final step to attach the hose with the piece of line I showed, and then we will test it with the magazine, because you know, if the gun works right now like it does in my case, everything's fine. The magazine is just a formal thing to check. So with the line we will do exactly the same as in all the conversions. So we make a loop out of it, right? And depending on the type of Glock, maybe you need to drill a hole for it, but mine actually has a hole here on the rear for a lanyard, and I'm gonna use this one. Okay, so I put it through like this. And now I'm gonna put the one end here over. So basically I do like a double loop, right? You see there will be one loop from this side and one loop from the inside. And the target is to really push the hose back, because if you leave it, it will be sticking out to the bottom, and then with the magazine, you know, it can be tricky to insert it because the hose is in the way. So you don't want to only, let's say, retain it so that it doesn't move, but you also want to pull it to the rear. So you can help yourself this way, that you start with making a knot here. That's my favorite option. I prepare myself some super glue again. I bend the hose to the rear. I pull the line like this, yeah, and I do it excessively, and I apply the glue on the line, okay, and now I quickly pull it, just give it a moment, and I can tie a knot here, okay, and done. Maybe in this view you see I have the knot, so I'm securing it with more glue. You know, you can tie a knot maybe better than I do. I'm no sailor or anything. I'm just, you know, a small workshop frog. And then I can cut off the leftovers here. Bam, bam. And that's all. My nice little Glock from VFC. Bam. Locks nicely. You see the oil is already leaking. Let's take a couple shots. All good. So we are done. The gun is working and it was successfully converted. Thank you for watching this Frog Manual episode about the Glock conversion for the VFC Glocks. As I already said, TM and WE are coming using the same conversion, just the videos will be different. Frog is risking its life standing in front of the muzzle. Thank you for watching. I hope that everything is clear now. You understand how to assemble the conversion, how it works, and you are able to perform it yourself. So let me know in the comments what you think. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, all this stuff, and